690, wherever you get your podcasts.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
Hello there, I'm Mark Robbins. In college football Saturday, one team among the top six lost. That was third-ranked Oregon as the Ducks fall 38-7 at number 23, Utah. But hold on if you think that means Cincinnati, ranked fifth currently, is going to move into the top four. That's not a given, according to Heather Dinich, who says the committee, which set a precedent by placing Michigan ahead of a team it lost to, Michigan State, a couple weeks ago, might just do the same thing with the Bearcats and Notre Dame.
But if we see Notre Dame pass the eye test, those tiebreakers might not necessarily, come into play, because Cincinnati would check both boxes in terms of the head-to-head win and a conference title. Those are two of the tiebreakers that they use to separate comparable teams. But if they think Notre Dame is just that much better, it could all go out the window.
That's ESPN's Heather Dinich on the best week ever earlier here on ESPN Radio. Hey, we've got an NFL doubleheader for you coming up. Things start at noon Eastern with coverage of the Packers and the Vikings, and then at 4 p.m. it's Arizona at Seattle. The Cardinals say Kyler Murray's going to be a game-time decision. He's missed the last two games dealing with an ankle injury. And across the pond, Manchester United's Ole Gunnar no longer the club's manager. The announcement coming after Manchester's stunning Saturday loss 4-1 to Watford. The club issuing a statement stating Ole will always be a legend for Manchester, and the Glazer family that owns the club thanks him for his tireless efforts.
Coming up Monday, the Ohio State has beaten Michigan State to keep their playoff hopes alive, and now they turn their attention to that other team up north. That's Monday morning. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio.
This is ESPN 690 Game Day Live, sponsored by the DUUUVAL House. Here's your host live from the DUUUVAL House, Brent Martineau.
Hey, welcome in on a Sunday morning here in Jacksonville. The clouds are out. It's comfortable, though, and it's a beautiful November day for some football. I think we'll get a really good one here against the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers bus just passed by the DUUUVAL House coming off the Hart Bridge, and they waved at us, I think. I don't know, maybe they didn't, but you can wave at us if you come off the Hart Bridge and drive by the Teal House at the foot of the Hart Bridge. It's the DUUUVAL House, and this is ESPN 690 Game Day Live from the DUUUVAL House, presented by Phillips & Hunt and Folio Weekly 2.0. Today, Moose is here, the Arc of Jacksonville. The Arc Jacksonville is today's charitable recipient, and all the proceeds raised today over the next few hours, all the way through the game, will go to the Arc Jacksonville. And good to see Moose out here, and everybody associated with the Arc. We'll tell you a little bit more about them as the show rolls on. I see some San Francisco 49ers fans. They're down the road a little bit. Looks like they're having a little tailgating party, and they've set up shop. You can see our show on ESPN 690 social media channels and mine as well. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Or hopefully you're listening on your way into the game today. And we'll talk all about the Jags and about the NFL and a little bit of everything else. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz. Good morning, Casey Kurtz. It's a game day. How you feeling about the Jags today?
Better than I was against Buffalo, so I don't really know what that says yet. But, okay, I guess I could say.
Yeah, I guess, last time we were here was the Buffalo game, and we were really playing the Jersey game more than anything else, so that was kind of fun. I don't think we'll have to do that here today. I would say we'll see some San Francisco fans, but this place will not be filled with San Francisco fans. Again, they have not – the wild stat about the 49ers, and they have not been to Jacksonville since 2005. They have never won in Jacksonville.
Wow.
So think about that. I mean, again, people forget about this franchise. It's relatively in its infancy still. when it comes to sports franchises. I mean, talking a little over 25 years now, and that is young. There's a youthfulness to this organization, even though some of those years have felt very long to many of us. We've lived in Jacksonville now for 14 years. I don't see many San Francisco 49ers fans walking around. That does not mean you won't get some from Orlando and Tampa and other places because, this is their time. When you haven't come to Jacksonville in 16 years and you've never won in Jacksonville, we'll see some San Francisco fans. They probably won't even be all from Jacksonville. I think they're just going to fill in from, a few hours away. But I can't imagine there's many making the trip from San Francisco on a holiday week and coming to Northeast Florida. That would surprise me. So be interesting to kind of see the crowd and the fan base. I mean, the 49ers have a good fan base, go all the way back to the Montana days, of course. But I don't feel like it's as a traveling road show as some of the other fan bases that do exist. Now, why have they just played, no games since 2005 here in Jacksonville? The answer is obvious and easy if you think about it. The London game. And the London game changed, some of the way home games are done here in Jacksonville over now since, 2012, I guess, or 13. And actually, San Francisco might have been the first one. Or was it the Dallas Cowboys? I think San Francisco was the first one back in 2013. And my goodness, Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers just manhandled a terrible Jags team over there in London. It was ugly. It was like a gross football game. I remember it. I was there. And, I think that was the first one. So, anyway, that's when it was their turn to come to Jacksonville. They took, that game away from Jacksonville, and it went to London. And what the NFL was trying to do at that time was really match up a team like Jacksonville didn't have, like, this huge fan base across the globe or across the country and match them up with teams that did have big fan bases and were more household names, the 49ers being one. Dallas was like the next year. So that was another. And then they kind of stopped doing a little bit of that. And especially probably some feedback from the local fans because local fans are like, well, what the heck? I mean, you're taking one of our big games away, especially that Dallas Cowboys one. That did not sit well with the local Jags fan base here in Jacksonville. So it was interesting if you go back to the London days. That's why San Francisco hasn't played in Jacksonville since 2005. And naturally, you get every 8 years it happens, right? We'll go up to Lambeau Field every 8 years. That was a bummer last year during COVID and no fans or limited fans and very little traveling. That was the year to go up to Lambeau Field. And many fans and even us in the media weren't able to make it. So that's the little historical perspective on why the San Francisco 49ers have, one, never won a football game here because there haven't been many opportunities, but two, haven't even been to Jacksonville since 2005. Do you feel educated now, Casey?
I do. I didn't imagine history lesson today, but what I've learned since working here is you never know what you're going to learn with Brent Martineau. So yeah. I feel educated. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you got it. No problem. My gosh, so go back and look at the box score of that San Francisco game in London. It was brutal. I don't remember the game in 2005. That was before my time, so I just don't have a recollection of really anything that went on. I just know the San Francisco 49ers lost that game. But more importantly, will the Jaguars win this game? I think this is a winnable game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think what they've done to us is say, okay, well, we know they can beat just about anybody. I have played some of their best football against the better teams in the league. Buffalo Bills they beat. Cincinnati Bengals, who have over a 500 record and until recent slump, were playing really good football. They should have won that game, in my opinion. That's like the should-have-won game of the season so far for the Jags. They had the Arizona Cardinals on the ropes late in the third quarter. And that's a big team from the NFC West, obviously 8-2. They've lost a couple recently, but they got off to an 8-0 start. And they've lost mainly because they don't have Kyler Murray in the lineup. So I think this is a winnable game because the Jags have proven something to us, even though they've not been very good for years now. And that is, at least right now, they have said, hey, we can play with just about anybody in the league, even the better teams. We can actually beat one of these Super Bowl contenders in the Buffalo Bills. And the other thing, and the reliable thing right now, really the only reliable thing, I think, for this football team, is the defense. And that is astonishing to say. But the defense, after the first 6 weeks especially, has played really good football at times, and especially the last couple of weeks for most of the games. Bad start last week against Indianapolis, but what an adjustment on Jonathan Taylor and Indy. It gave themselves a chance to win the football game. The offense just crumbled and couldn't do anything with it. So I take those two things where you now look at coming into this game, I feel like the Jags defense should play pretty well. And I also feel like the Jags have proven to us that they're going to get up and play anybody. Doesn't matter what their record is and how good they are or what kind of game they're coming off. And for San Francisco, they're really not that great from a record standpoint. They've been highly disappointing. But we saw what they did Monday night, and that showed their ceiling and capability. And they put on a clinic and a show against the Rams, who also are struggling right now. And this feels like a good San Francisco and a getting healthier and better San Francisco team coming into Jacksonville today, Casey.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about the Jags defense in this matchup is, in general, for the 49ers, you have no idea who's running the football week in and week out. It feels like they've got like 4 or 5 different dudes, which they do. One of them is always hurt, but not like super hurt, just hurt enough to not play, which is likely the case today with Elijah Mitchell, who has been good this year for them. He won't play. So it looks like Jeff Wilson Jr. will get the carries. Trey Sermon's in there. JaMychal Hasty's out. There's a lot going on in the backfield, but the point of that story is if they can do what they did against Jonathan Taylor in the second half against Jeff Wilson Jr., you got to like that matchup. Now, obviously, the X factor will be you have to figure out where Deebo Samuel is when they line up, and you have to keep your eye on George Kittle, who is once again healthy, which I think Kittle will be a problem for the Jags today. Not like the Jags have a history of giving up a lot of big plays to tight ends, right, Brent?
Yeah. That's really the concerning thing. There's 3 concerns about the Jacksonville Jaguars coming in today from a San Francisco perspective. You could sit here and talk about their defense. They have some good players, obviously led by Nick Bosa. That's really not it. I think the Jags are more worried about their own stuff on offense. I think there's 3 things, and it starts with Kyle Shanahan. And Shanahan and Lynch have been overall hyped up by folks like even me too much, coming off a Super Bowl appearance. They've built a lot of talent, but they have not produced good results. So they are a little overrated, to be honest with you. Kyle Shanahan and Lynch, but let's go Kyle Shanahan. But the fact of the matter is Shanahan can be brilliant at times with his offensive game plans. We saw it Monday night against the Rams. We also saw it a few years back when he just torched a very good Jags defense at the time. That was a Christmas Eve game when the Jags had their big season, and their defense was one of the best in the league. And he just did whatever he wanted that day against that defense. So Kyle Shanahan scares you a little bit if I'm the Jags, and I'm interested in the chess match between Shanahan and Joe Cullen because, listen, I'm not sure too many people would say, hey, Joe Cullen in a chess match, what do you mean? Well, look what he's done the last couple of weeks. I think he is scheming things up differently, and I think it's very noticeable, and the results have been there. So what does he have in plan today against Jimmy Garoppolo and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle? And so that brings us to the other guys that scare you. Kyle Shanahan leads the way. George Kittle should be number 2 on that list because he's getting healthier. He just got back in the lineup in the last couple of weeks. He's playing more. He's probably getting more in a groove after being out for a little bit. And some would call him the most complete tight end in the NFL. Bottom line is he's super dangerous. All you got to do is play fantasy football to know how dangerous George Kittle is. And then you add in Deebo Samuel. And Samuel, while a fun name to say and an entertaining player at times and had that big run during the playoffs in the Super Bowl when he went to the 49ers. He's on a different level right now. He's playing consistently good football, and he's one of the best in the NFL if you look at any receiving category. I don't think people realize that. I think people realize that Deebo Samuel is a good player. He can be a tough matchup. They're going to do some different things with him. But I don't know if they know, is he second in the league or something in receiving yards?
I believe that is correct.
He is. That's what kind of year. Like we were talking Jamar Chase all week when the Jags played Cincinnati. I don't feel like everybody's talking Deebo. They should be. And it's not just because the guy's a little bit different, they use him differently. It's because he's been very productive. So the 3 things of concern, and this is all about the offense going against the defense today, is Kyle Shanahan, it's George Kittle, and it's Deebo Samuel. Thing that should not be a major concern is Jimmy Garoppolo. But Garoppolo, with 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, is playing his best football right now of the season. And I think he has, I counted up 6 games this year with a rating of 100 or better. Some of those times are right on the 100 rating mark. But the last 3 games he's been trending up. I think it's like 100, maybe like 120 and even a 130 rating, if I got it right. So the last 3 weeks, he's playing his best football of the year. It's not dynamic football, but he's doing enough, and he's winning football, playing winning football and putting them in a position to do so. So I'm not afraid of Jimmy Garoppolo today, but I am a little bit concerned, and should be a lot concerned, about what Kyle Shanahan has for a plan, how you defend George Kittle, and how hot maybe Deebo Samuel right now is for the San Francisco 49ers, Casey.
Yeah, and to your point, Deebo Samuel is second in the league in yards, 979. He trails only Cooper Kupp. So if you had those two as the leading receivers in the NFL at this point in time, congratulations on that bet. But the question for me is, you're going to – obviously it's not a question for me with Deebo Samuel. You got to figure it out, and same with George Kittle. But for me, the question – and I guess this goes back to Shanahan – scheming stuff up and whatnot. Where is Brandon Ayuk? Like, there are games where he sees 12 snaps, and then there's game where he's on the field every snap and has 10 targets. So that to me is an X factor, that if you think Shaq Griffin can play with Deebo Samuel, if he's going to follow him around, then that's one thing. But if Brandon Ayuk becomes a factor and is on the field, which he should be, was a first-round pick, and he's obviously talented, I don't know what the problem is there, why he's not on the field every play, but there's some disconnect there. He's fast. Tyson Campbell's quick. He's going to have to stay with him. And Tyson Campbell had a good game last week, and he had a big pass breakup that I think we remember. That, to me, is going to be an interesting matchup to see those two younger players kind of work it out and who can get the better of each other, with two guys that, in their own ways, are struggling so far this season.
Yeah, Ayuk's a good call there in terms of keep an eye on him. I think he could go under the radar, but that's what Shanahan will do. I mean, last week they ran the outside, that zone read, and just ran it like I think Urban Meyer said 15, 20 times.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, they will find a play and run the play, and so he finds a weak spot. So where's the fascination of this game is, okay, what does Shanahan come out with? Then how do the Jags adjust, and can they make that adjustment to whatever's going on? Like the Rams obviously never adjusted to it. Now the Rams, interesting, everybody's talking about that game. One thing about the Rams, they're really struggling right now. I mean, that's 2 games in a row where they've played bad football, like really bad football. I joke a little bit in town this week, and everybody's talking about the Jags offense being so bad. Well, listen, it happens in the NFL. I know it happens a lot more around here, but it happens in the NFL where your quarterback isn't playing that great. Guys are dropping passes. You have too many penalties. All you have to do is watch that game Monday night and watch the Rams the last 2 weeks. That is a team that is not built to do that. That is way more talent than this football team here in Jacksonville on offense, and also has a quarterback that's been playing for over a decade in the league, and they look just as bad as the Jags on offense. Like, it's not like one or the other. No, they both look awful on offense with the drops, the penalties, the bad play. So it can happen, and sometimes there's a funk in the middle of the season. The Rams are a little bit in that. But the big thing about the Rams in that game against 49ers, they got pushed around. And so there's a physical nature to the San Francisco 49ers, the way they play. They like to punch you in the mouth. I don't think the Jags mind a street fight. Like, that's the good news. Like, they're not a finesse team. I think the Jags can punch in the mouth a little bit. That's a Joe Cullen style on defense. They've got some guys that don't mind mixing it up on the defensive front. And even offensively, one of their strengths, believe it or not, and people still are a little wary of this, is their offensive line and their running game if James Robinson gives it a go. And that will be the big story. It looks like he's expected to play again today, and hopefully he can get back in the groove and get his 20 touches coming off a 12-touch performance last week. So if you're looking from a stylistic standpoint, you're like, oh, my goodness, how about San Francisco? Look at what they did to the Rams. The Jags have no chance. I think it's totally different in terms of what they're going to see against the Jags. And by the way, they also have to do that flying to the East Coast on a short week. And as I saw the buses come by, I just tweeted, it said it's 6 in the morning as they are making the early buses arriving to the stadium and their body clock.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's a real thing. It really is. Does it impact the game? I don't really think that much. But could you be a little sluggish? Is that why Arizona didn't play that well coming over from the West? Maybe. A 1 o'clock game is a 10 o'clock in the morning game for these guys. So I think there is a little bit of that to be concerned with. My view on that all the time is, listen, if you're better, you're better. And San Francisco might just be better. Well, they are better than the Jags. Can they be better today, and how much does that part impact the football game? Well, we know the best cliche in the NFL is it's a week-to-week league. So there's a lot to watch here today, I think, unfold, especially in the early part of the game. Because, Casey, the early part of the game last week against Indianapolis, the Jags looked like they were going to get run out of Indy. And then they turned it around in the second quarter, and they dominated, really. Like, they dominated on the defensive side of the ball. And even at times, they moved the ball better than the Colts on the offensive side of the ball through the final three quarters. So, first of all, you can't get behind 17-0 every week in the NFL. But secondly, the adjustment is key. A lot of times, teams give up that scripted drive, and whether it ends in a field goal or a touchdown, and then what they do is they make the adjustment off that scripted drive. Like, that is a common thing in the NFL. That's why the scripted drives seem to work sometimes, because you game planned all week for it, and now can you adjust after the defense adjusts? So that's something to keep an eye on. I also think, as we get all the topics out on the table here early on the ESPN 690 Game Day Live from the DUUUVAL House, that I thought about this a little bit yesterday. The Jaguars got off to a bad start in Seattle. They obviously played okay against Buffalo the entire way, and they got off to a really bad start last week against Indianapolis. The Jags have to be a little careful today, in my opinion, to get off to a bad start, because guess what the questions are going to be all next week? It's like, how do you get off to a faster start? How do you get off to a faster start? We got to get off to a faster start. Like, we've heard that around here before. But if you have 3 out of 4 games that you got off to a struggling start and you were down double digits essentially, like in a blink of an eye, that is the next narrative that could form for the Jacksonville Jaguars going into week 12 of the NFL season and the Thanksgiving holiday. So I think they have to be careful. I've got my eyes early in this game, 10, 12 minutes in. 1, to see what Shanahan does. 2, to see how San Francisco responds with the early game, if you will. And 3, to see if we can avoid the Jags get off to slow starts all the time, Casey.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. You read my mind almost. Going back to what you said real quick on the punch you in the mouth football type thing, looking at it, and it's weird to say, but I think the Jags defensive line is up for that, and I think they're better in that aspect. And I think if they can stop Jonathan Taylor in the second half, they can sure as heck stop the 49ers run game. But, yeah, to your point, if a team that is already at the stadium at 6 a.m. their time, and as you said about Arizona, the sluggish start, that's why it's even more important for the Jags to get off to a good start. The question is, can it be done? Yet to be seen. But if you have James Robinson active and healthy and is able to get the amount of touches he usually has, you would have to imagine and hope at least that first drive is James Robinson, maybe play action, and then more James Robinson to get off to a fast start, because that's what the Jags are good at. So that's something you hope for. But, yeah, Brent, to your point, you're in those media rooms more times than not asking Urban Meyer questions, and you could probably need a couple hands to count how many fast start questions there will be on Monday if it looks like it did in Indy.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of James Robinson, we're going to talk a little bit more about him. What was your view from the couch on James in the second half? Did you think he looked more like himself as they gave him the football? They didn't really give him the football much in the first half.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. I mean, there was a couple times where it was a very small gain, and I wouldn't say he gave up on the play, because that's not it, but it's just like he kind of, I don't know how to explain it well other than he just kind of took the hit, got his yards, and went down, versus where when we usually see him, it's breaking those tackles and whatnot. And then when there were bigger gains to be had, he looked fully healthy. So I think it was just kind of managing and being smart with what he could have and saving those bursts and whatnot when he saw things ahead of him with his vision. But I think for the most part, yeah, he looked healthy, and but I think there is still room for improvement there, and hopefully we see that today. Yeah,
certainly not 100%. I'm not sure it'll be 100% today, as we would say this time of year. Nobody probably is. But from a push-off standpoint on that heel, and as he told us on Jags Report Live Monday, a little bit of a knee that he's working out too, because on that same play he hyperextended the knee. So he's probably getting a workout in here in short order. I won't have the TMZ-ish camera out like I did in Indianapolis, but guess is he's going to give it a go here against the 49ers. That's the expectation for James Robinson. Let's talk a little bit more about James in this offense, because the big story around here is the offense. How do they get it going? Let's take a break. We come back. ESPN 690 Game Day live from the DUUUVAL House, brought to you by Phillips & Hunt, Folio Weekly 2.0. The ARC Jacksonville is the beneficiary of any dollars raised today throughout the day here on a Sunday. So stop on by the Teal House at the bottom of the Hart Bridge and say hello. We'll be here until 11 o'clock, and then the party goes on even long after that. We go right into TV at 11:30 on CBS 47. Countdown to kickoff. By the way, the football game today is on Fox, 1 o'clock. It's a Fox game on Fox 30 at 1 p.m., the 49ers and the Jags. Let's talk offense when we come back because, well, it hasn't been good for the Jags. We're live on ESPN 690 on a Sunday morning.
Mike Greenberg is Greeny.
Did anyone watch football last year and think, you know what, I think there's just too much taunting going on? These guys seem to be too excited when they make big plays, and every now and again, it seems to be in the face of their opponent. This does not have any impact on the competition of the game until you choose to make it so. And what I'm suggesting is don't choose that. Don't choose that.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And watch exclusively on ESPN+.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Today, partly sunny, breezy, and mild with highs in the low 70s. We will increase the clouds overnight tonight. Ahead of our next cold front, temperatures will stay mild, dropping into the upper 50s. The cold front will be sweeping through the area on Monday, so expect partly to mostly cloudy skies with a morning and midday shower. Temperatures will top out in the mid-70s. Behind the front, much cooler on Tuesday, sunny, breezy, and definitely chilly with highs in the upper 50s. I'm meteorologist Alyssa Pedgick, and that's your Action News Jax First Alert forecast.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, where now you can save up to 41% off during Beard's anniversary sale.
I love football and I love chicken wings. Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. We are a lot alike, right? You love football and you love wings. Let's win the week with Extreme Wings Sports Grill. 4 locations in Jacksonville, Atlantic Boulevard, Ocean Way, 210 in St. Johns County, and the new location on Roosevelt Boulevard near NAS Jax, serving up the freshest, never frozen, world-famous extreme hot wings to Jacksonville since 1999. We like football. We like wings. We love a good deal. To celebrate the grand opening of the Extreme Wings Roosevelt location, get 6 wings, French fries, and a drink for just $12.99 at the Roosevelt location. 6 wings, French fries, and a drink, just $12.99. Active military gets special discounts. Jalapeno ranch, Caribbean jerk, spicy blue cheese, lemon pepper. So many flavors to choose from. And, of course, they can make them extreme if you want. Plenty of space at Extreme Wing Sports Grill locations. If you're looking for a place for the entire team, try Extreme Wing Sports Grill. I love it. You'll love it. 4 locations in Jacksonville, including Roosevelt Boulevard near NAS Jax.
Look, boss, there's another Safe Touch house.
Just play it cool, drive on by.
Word on the street is these new Safe Touch security video cameras are really pinching the burglary business.
Yeah? How so?
Well, the cameras are integrated with the Safe Touch app, right? So the homeowner gets notified when someone even gets close to the house.
So that protects the entire property then?
Exactly. Driveway burglaries are a thing of the past now with these Safe Touch cameras.
Driveway break-ins. The low-hanging fruit of the burglary biz.
Yup. Boss, I heard someone even got busted for letting their dog poop in someone's yard.
Ha! Caught in the act with a Safe Touch security camera. Priceless.
Yeah, it keeps our job pretty simple. See a Safe Touch sign? Just drive on by.
Now, for a limited time, the Safe Touch Advantage plan includes free equipment and installation for new customers with an Advantage monitoring agreement. The Safe Touch doorbell camera, a $200 value, can be added for just $99. Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-333-1750. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-333-1750. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-333-1750. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-333-1750. 800-333-1750.
On average, an artificial limb for a child starts at $5,000, and the first prosthetic for an adult can cost up to $50,000, making it nearly impossible for disabled children or veterans to afford the limb they need. At Life Giving Limbs, we cover the cost of these prosthetics, giving recipients a chance at receiving a new limb and a new start on life. Please help by donating now. Visit lifegivinglimbs.com or call 469-601-8523.
Join ESPN 690 on March 5th for the Gate River Run. Registration for the 15K, 5K for charity, Junior River Run, and the Brooks Rehabilitation Mile Challenge is now open at GateRiverRun.com. Training information is available on the website. See you at the starting line.
Throughout the year, there were times, like I said last week, we really played well, but now we got to put 4 quarters together, and they did that obviously against Buffalo, and then we didn't start well, but then they drew the line in the sand and said enough is enough, and let's get the ball back for the offense. So I just think as they continue to grow, continue to play with one another within the system, they're just getting better and feeling more comfortable with what they're doing, and playing. They're playing physical and fast, and when you know what to do, you can play fast.
Well, that's Joe Cullen, Jags defensive coordinator, and I'm telling you, I love Joe anyway. I mean, he's such a good guy, but we had to kind of be critical of him early on. I mean, they couldn't line up right. They had 12 men on the field a couple times in a row in Seattle. They looked lost. They had a terrible second half against Cincy. They couldn't stop. Cincy still would be scoring in that second half. They got a terrible first half against Geno Smith in Seattle. They Tyrod Taylor, the Tuas, the Geno Smiths, the Teddy Bridgewaters, like lighting them up for 300 yards. But now, like, when you can see improvement of a team that was 1-15 and has a new staff and has a lot of new players, and you can see it happening, like, I think that's very promising for a team. And it's really promising and gives you faith for the coaching staff. I think we've seen both. I think we have seen a coaching staff coach better on the defensive side, and I think we have seen the players play better. And maybe the biggest attaboy that you can give anybody in that building right now is the fact that Taven Bryan has played 2 good football games in a row, like noticeable football games.
Yeah.
It's never happened in his career. And so from Urban Meyer to really Joe Cullen and Tosh Lapoy and everybody else, they are getting the best out of Taven Bryan right now. Like that anybody's ever gotten out of Taven Bryan at the NFL level, and he's been in the league for 4 years. Like, that is a big deal in my opinion. And I don't think it can be overlooked. So we'll talk a little bit more about the defense coming up, but can they do it again? Like, I feel like this has been coming on for a month on the defensive side. There were signs in the Miami game. I don't give them a lot of signs in the Seattle game, but they could at least stake claim to what happened in the second half. I think it's whatever, but it did happen. And then the last 2 weeks have been really pretty darn good on a lot of different levels. So there's a lot to like right now about the Jaguars defense, and I don't think it's like a false sense of confidence about it. Like, I think it's there right in front of our face. And they do have some good players on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll talk a little bit more about them and where they could go coming up throughout the show. ESPN 690 Game Day live from the DUUUVAL house. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz. On a Sunday morning, we do this each and every home game for the Jags. We did it Florida-Georgia week as well. Really fun hanging out here and more expanded coverage on ESPN 690 as we continue to grow this station. And this is new in 2021. The Arc Jacksonville out here. Good to see Moose and his mom, Susan, out here as well. And the Arc Jacksonville, the beneficiary for the dollars raised today at the DUUUVAL house. If you don't know where we're at, well, you can't miss this. Come off the Hart Bridge, the Teal House. It's the only Teal House near the stadium. And wave as you come on by or stop on by throughout the day at some point and say hello. We'll be here until 11 o'clock. All right, let's talk about offense now because it's been bad. It's really been bad in this 3-week stretch. There's a lot of different ways to go here. I've tried to dig into this a lot more during the week. What is fact? What is fiction? What is fans? What is reality? There's a lot that goes into that now. People will spin it inside the building. The fans try to blanket it. We do too in the media. And then you got to deep dive into some of it and figure out, okay, what is fact and what is fiction? The bottom line is there's a lot going wrong with the offense. And in my opinion, it starts with the quarterback. He's not playing great, but I also don't think he trusts anything right now. And as quarterback, and you put him up against like what Mac Jones is doing, the Patriots, who Mac trusts everything right now. He trusts everything around him. And Trevor Lawrence trusts nothing around him. Now, he wouldn't say that publicly, and I don't think he's saying it privately. But I think we all have seen enough sports to know when a guy's playing faster because he trusts stuff, especially in that position, and when he's a little bit hesitant to pull the trigger or to trust that a guy's going to make a play and to throw it into a tighter window. And therefore, it slows down the processing just enough. And in this league, you slow things down. All you got to do in this league is go frame by frame with a piece of video and watch where like a defensive end is one frame and watch where he is 2 frames later.
Yeah.
And that will show you how much every like millisecond matters in the NFL. It's that fast of a game. And I think that's the overall problem right now with Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he's a bad football player. I don't think he's a bust. I think he is trying not to make too many mistakes, and right now he does not trust, Casey, a lot around him.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely a fact that he's not playing well, but I also think it's a fact that the receivers aren't playing well, and they might just not be very good. But everyone on Twitter that's saying, like you just said, that Trevor might not be the guy, that's fiction, because Trevor's definitely the guy. I agree with you. He just doesn't trust what's going on, and the only thing he really can trust is turning around and handing the ball to James Robinson, and you can't do that if he's not healthy. So someone at some point is going to have to step up. It has been Jamal Agnew, but that has gone backwards. He had a big run last week, but that wasn't in the pass game. I don't know who's going to step up. John Brown was activated. Maybe it'll be him on a long pass. I'm not sure yet. But somebody is going to have to step up and make a play for Trevor Lawrence to get everyone's confidence going in the pass game. And hopefully we see that today, because this San Francisco defense is very good up front. The back end is good, but it's not great. There's plays to be made. Just someone has to go and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Casey Kurtz, Brent Martineau here on a Sunday morning, take you up until 11 o'clock. And I just tweeted this out, okay? Get everybody involved in our conversations a little bit on social media, and this should do the trick. I just said, I'm not sure it will happen today. And it might start happening today. I just can't buy it until I see a little bit of it. But the Jags will get going on offense. They'll have like this 3-game stretch where they score 27, 30, whatever it might be, and they look good. They will. Like, I believe that will happen on offense, even though they don't have DJ Chark, even though they don't look good right now. I think it will happen over this 8-game stretch. I don't know if that's 3 weeks like December 5th, 12th, and 19th. I don't know if that's this week, next week, and December 5th. I don't know if it's the last 3 games of the year. But I'm telling you, there's going to be a 3-game stretch, I believe, that this offense gets going and they get comfortable. And a lot of that will be off what Trevor does, how he elevates his game, how he gets in a rhythm, how he starts trusting things around him and just kind of lets it go and play. And will he do that today? I don't know. But I'm convinced they will do it. Because, Casey, I don't believe this is a bad offense. I really don't believe it's a bad offense. If I say that about the Rams, you'd be like, well, you're right. They just sucked the last couple of weeks. Well, I understand why you would buy that more. The Jags are a little tougher of a buy if I'm selling that to you. But, man, I think look at their offense. Their offensive line is not terrible. It's not great. It's not terrible. There's a lot of teams around the – trust me, there are a lot of teams around the league that would take the production of their offensive line. Their quarterback has a ton of talent. Their running back is one of the best running backs in the league. The big problem, you said it, we all know it, is that he has not been healthy or played in the last 3 games with any consistency. And that is a major problem because it's a difference when he comes off the field. So if he gets going a little bit and stays healthy, well, then that's going to help prove me right, or this offense gets going a little bit. And I do think they have enough talent at the receiver position. See, I don't buy that they're bad there. I don't think they're very good there, especially when DJ Chark goes down and ETN is out for the year and that stuff. But I think Marvin Jones is a good player. I think Laviska Shenault is a way better player than he's playing right now. So you combine that James Robinson's been out, Laviska's playing bad right now, and that is a big problem. I also don't know what else I can rely on from the receiver position, but I know Jamal Agnew adds a wrinkle to the offense that's pretty cool. And he scored on a 66-yard touchdown run despite dropping a couple of passes last week, and he's made some of the biggest plays of the year for this offense. What you can rely on with Agnew, I'm not sure, and I'd be hesitant to do it, but I know that he can give you a wrinkle or two that defenses have to think about. And then I will add in Dan Arnold. And they could get James O'Shaughnessy back today, too. But Arnold is a mismatch. Arnold is their best mismatch they have right now if you design a game plan. And so put those things together. And, again, I'm not telling you this is the Chiefs. I'm not telling you this is whatever best offense in the league. But I'm watching the Patriots play, and this offense from a personnel standpoint is not that different than the New England Patriots, who are putting up points left and right, having drives, sustaining drives. I think we will see a little bit of that at some point out of the Jags. I think. And I believe now a lot of the criticism early on, and I wasn't buying it as much, goes to Darrell Bevell, the offensive coordinator. It's his job to get these guys playing in the same and in sync, and it's the player's job to catch the football and not have penalties, and it's Trevor's job to throw it and play better and make the right reads and all those things. But it is Darrell Bevell's job a little bit to get these guys comfortable and get them going, put them in position to have their best football and play their best football. And he is not doing that either. And I think it was crystal clear if you watched that game Thursday night against Atlanta, now Atlanta's defense isn't great, but what Mac Jones and the Patriots and Josh McDaniels did to scheme everything open, I mean, there were 2 to 3 plays in the entire game, and I think he threw it 24, 25 times, that were contested throws. There was not nobody, but by NFL standards, they weren't contested passes. Why is that happening for New England? And where's Darrell Bevell making that happen for the Jaguars? He has got to be more creative with this offense and scheme things open to get these players going, and especially to get Trevor Lawrence going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you want to listen to those comparisons to the Jags offense and the Patriots offense, which are very similar, and it was very interesting. We did that on Friday. You can find that in the podcast, Action Sports Jax on ESPN690, wherever you get your podcast. That'll be hour 1 from Friday. But, yeah, I think this does come back to Darrell Bevell, because I have a hard time saying that this is a bad offense when you have James Robinson. And the way I look at it is James Robinson is at least, at very minimum, top 7 back in the NFL. And off the top of my head, there's only 4, maybe 5 that I would even consider taking over James Robinson, and that's maybe. So when you have a back like that, it can't be a bad offense. What can be bad is the fact that you don't give it to him enough. And when he's fully healthy, we saw in the early part of the season, he didn't get it enough. And the Jags have to figure out how to make that happen when he's fully healthy, and hopefully he is this week. On Dan Arnold, I think it's going to be interesting when O'Shaughnessy is fully healthy. We don't know if that'll be today yet. Even if he's active, we don't know if it'll be 100%. The 2 tight end set for the Jags with 2 pass-catching wide receivers could be fascinating. And it's something that hasn't been seen for a while. And Dan Arnold has proven, he has had some drops, granted, but he has proven to be somewhat reliable for Trevor Lawrence. He's a mismatch, like you said. And James O'Shaughnessy can give you something in the receiving game. So if they can figure out how to run some 2 tight end sets and take pressure off Laviska and Marvin Jones, that will help. Marvin Jones, I agree with you, is a good player. Laviska, I'm not sold, Brent. I've told you a couple times, and he needs to step up. If you have a guy on the other side of the field like Deebo Samuel, who we thought Laviska was, Laviska needs to start proving that he can be somewhat reliable on this offense, or come the offseason, you got to look to make a move to potentially replace him.
And here's the deal with Laviska Shenault. I'm not saying he's a great player, but he's better than the way he's playing. He has regressed. He doesn't look confident. He's dropping the football. He's running the wrong routes. He's reading the wrong holes, even when he gets the ball in the backfield. He is not playing well. And like, we can talk about Trevor not playing well and other guys not playing. He is, like, noticeably not playing well.
Absolutely.
And that is a problem, and it goes back to the Miami game, really, like a month ago. So you talk about a trust issue. Your number 2 wide receiver, essentially, is not playing good football. And there's not a lot to trust. So much so that, like, the topic this week was Laquan Treadwell from the receiver position. He made a hell of a play in Indianapolis. He actually made a great block on the Agnew play. And so now all of a sudden people are talking about Treadwell. Well, listen, what can you rely on from guys that you're picking up off the street? They did it again with John Brown. I don't think those are reliable pieces. Laviska Shenault should be a reliable piece. He's played in the league a couple years. He's produced. He's better than he's playing. I'm not telling you he's a Pro Bowl guy. I'm not telling you he's better than Deebo Samuel, even though the comps are there to Samuel in terms of style. But he's better than the way he's playing. And I think if he plays better, then maybe Marvin Jones plays better, and then Dan Arnold even gets more, and obviously James Robinson and Trevor Lawrence, and it lifts everybody's game. Like, we can talk about Trevor Lawrence not playing well and that he's bringing down the offense. I really think Laviska Shenault right now is probably the main culprit of the offense. Like, he is a guy that is making this out of sync for them, and he might be near the top of my list. Like, he has to play better football, or they got to take him out of there and put somebody in. Because he is something that I believe he's gone to an unreliable phase right now, and that is not good. And again, that hurts the confidence of your young quarterback. Because if I don't think he's reliable, what the heck is Trevor Lawrence thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's extremely tough because if you're Darrell Bevell, he said it, and I think we'll hear that sound a little bit later, but he said that they're trying to find ways to get him involved with short passes or whatnot. But if he's not even making the play on those, I mean, you're right. You have to make a move at some point if Trevor Lawrence can't even look that direction, because if we're talking about it, you don't think the San Francisco 49ers know it? So not only are you not worried about this guy, you can kind of, if you're not even sure he can catch the football, you don't even have to really pay attention to him. You can lock up Dan Arnold, lock up Marvin Jones, and then you're back in this situation. So, yeah, I agree with you absolutely that it comes down to Laviska Shenault. You make a play, honestly, one play, a big play, and everything might change for this offense. That might be all it takes for them to find some confidence, change how the defense plays them, and make some more plays throughout the game.
Here's the thing. The crazy thing about talking about Laviska like this, and I feel like we're hammering him a little bit, but I really like what he could bring to the table. And if you think about it, I can think of 3 plays that he made that were winning football plays. The Jags, I think, should have beat Cincinnati. He had the 58-yard catch down the field, right? They did beat Miami, and they did it because of the 4th and 8 play that Laviska caught that set up the field goal.
Yeah.
And they beat the Buffalo Bills, and he had a big 3rd down catch in that Buffalo game. I don't know if you remember that. It wasn't eye-popping, but it was like a 3rd and 8 in traffic, and boom, Trevor put it on him, and he caught it, and he hung on to it. And so even I see those 3 plays, but there's so much more that he's leaving out there. Like, I think Bevell's protecting him a little bit. I think they have tried to get him involved, and I don't think he's done enough. And so you can't get a guy involved if he's not making catches.
Right.
I mean, why are you going to get that guy involved? So I really think, like, if there's a hidden guy on this team that needs to play a heck of a lot better than he's playing, I think it's Laviska Shenault. I think everybody's pointing. James Robinson isn't in the game. The offensive line, guys are dropping it. Trevor's not playing well. Yeah, you know what? Those all might be true. But the guy that's playing way under his pay grade right now, in my opinion, is Laviska Shenault, and way under his talent level, too. And he has got to step it up for this team and become a reliable weapon, kind of like we're seeing on the other side with San Francisco. Deebo Samuel is one of the most dangerous players in the league right now.
Absolutely.
And it's not like he's a 4-2 Tyreek Hill guy.
No.
And he's become one of the most dangerous players in the league. So you're taking a weapon away from the quarterback and the offensive coordinator if you're not playing good football, if you're Laviska Shenault. And I think that's a major problem. All right, we got to take a break. That's a problem, too. Let's go. We're having some fun talking Jags. Let's. What else is happening around the NFL? We're going to talk a lot more Jags on the way. Here's a welcome in the San Francisco 49ers. 1 o'clock kick on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47. We'll have countdown to kickoff. I'll run into the stadium. This show until 11 o'clock. It's ESPN 690, Game Day Live from the DUUUVAL House here on a Sunday morning in late November. Happy Thanksgiving week, everybody.
It's a sale so big, it's been 4 decades in the making.
It's Beards Diamond's incredible 41st anniversary sale, going on now until November 30th.
All GIA certified loose diamonds, all designer settings, pendants, bracelets, earrings, engagement rings.
Everything store-wide is on sale up to 41% off.
We've brought in extra inventory just for the sale.
For over 4 decades, families have been shopping at Beards Diamonds for the absolute lowest prices. Now, to say thank you, everything in the store is discounted up to 41% off.
Nobody beats Beards Diamonds prices.
If you're popping the question soon, celebrating a big anniversary, or even shopping early for the holidays,
now you can go even bigger and save thousands.
Beards Diamonds will never be beat on price. Believe it.
Shop the largest inventory in North Florida at Never Seen Savings.
Everything store-wide is on sale up to 41% off. But hurry, these savings will only last until November 30th.
Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
My name is Sanjay Patani, and I'm an emergency medicine physician. It's the after effects of getting COVID that the young population should be concerned about. There's chronic fatigue syndrome, blood clotting disorders, heart problems. There are long chronic lung problems. The essence of this vaccine is not to prevent you from getting coronavirus. It is from preventing you from getting seriously ill and potentially dying.
This message is sponsored by the Florida Hospital Association, the Florida Medical Association, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Just be in control. With free interest checking and great digital tools, Community First makes smarter banking simple. Add an account at justbeyourself.com. Community First Credit Union. Just be yourself. Federally insured by NCUA.
Bono's Pit Barbecue. Yeah, it's good. It's more than food. It's about the flavor, the tradition. It's barbecue, and it's who we are at Bono's. Locally smoked since 1949. Almost 20 locations around Jacksonville. On the menu, smokehouse stackers, sandwiches, salads, sides, and Bono's family feast. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. Authentic, traditional Southern barbecue. Feel the flavor, feel the community. Bono's Pit Barbecue. Yeah, it's good.
Quitting tobacco isn't easy. In all honesty, it's a very hard thing to do. The good news is Tobacco Free Florida is here to help you quit your way. When you call Tobacco Free Florida's phone quit service at 1-877-YOU-CAN-NOW, you'll connect to a quit coach who will help you assess your addiction. You may also qualify for free nicotine patches or gum. So call us at 1-877-YOU-CAN-NOW to double your chances of success. No judgments, just help.
Nights of Lights dazzles with more than 3 million lights in the historic district of St. Augustine. Now imagine doubling those lights as they reflect off the water during your tour with Redboat Tours. Avoid downtown crowds by boarding at Beach's Restaurant Marina at 250 Volano Road. Then sit back and let Captain Tony and Miss Jennifer take you on a tour you'll never forget. Don't settle for imposters. Make no mistake, Redboat Tours is St. Augustine's only USA Today Reader's Choice Best Boat Tour 3 years running. Book your Nights of Lights tours now at redboattours.com.
Got a business trip, long weekend, or maybe you just really want to try that new Toyota before you buy it? Then get it all when you rent a Toyota from Arlington Toyota. With easy online reservations and rental rates as low as $19.95 a day, there's nothing stopping you from hitting the open road in a new 2021 Toyota. So rent a Toyota from Arlington Toyota. Try it before you buy it and reserve your rental online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
Well, we're doing things to put him in the position to get the ball. We're going to even make more adjustments with that and just continue to hunt ways to get it to him. It's sometimes the defense has stuff to say about it, like when you're just sending them down the field, so you can see some of the other things that we've tried to do with it, and we'll keep working in that area.
That's Darrell Bevell, the Jags offense coordinator. And, we just talked about Laviska Shenault. Just a bow on that conversation. They made it seem this week, Urban Meyer did, they're going to move him back to the slot and keep him there. I hate when the Jags do this, and it seems like every regime does this. They try to put people in spots that they're not as good at. And they put Laviska on the outside sometimes because DJ Chark got hurt. Well, he's not that good there, or he's not as good there. Why do I want a B-level performance from a guy on the outside? It's really been more like a C or less. But why would I want his B game on the outside if he can be an A-game player on the inside? And we've seen this so many times throughout the years. And I'm sure other teams do it. It doesn't happen just in Jacksonville. And some people can do it. I haven't seen many people that in the Jags, organization that has been able to do it over the years, from Taven Bryan trying to play two different positions to Miles Jack playing a position that doesn't fit his skill set. And we see countless examples of this, and they do it. So hopefully they move him back to the slot. I can't get off the Marvin Jones quote from training camp saying there's nobody like him in the NFL from the slot. Now, Deebo Samuel can do a lot of different things, but you get the idea what Marvin Jones was saying. This is a guy that's played in the league for 10 years. And so I just don't get why the Jags tinkered with that, and it doesn't seem like it's worked very well. I'm sure they have good reason for it. I can't find it, and I want him to go back to the slot. That's where he's going to play his best football. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz, ESPN690 Game Day live from the DUUUVAL House. Just talked a lot of Jags, defense and offense, matchup with San Francisco. I want to get back to the defense in a little bit, too. We haven't really talked about San Francisco's defense much, but can be good, and Nick Bosa is one of the better players in the NFL. So we'll talk more Jags coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. How about we go around the NFL real quick? And Trey Wingo just tweeted this. No, well, I don't know about just, but I just retweeted it. He said the last 2 Super Bowl champions didn't get rolling until right about now. Last year, the Bucs were 7-5, didn't lose again. In 2019, the Chiefs were 6-4 and didn't lose again. It's about who gets hot at the right time, and I totally agree with that, which is one of the reasons I don't believe in your Super Bowl team, Casey.
Hey, now.
Like, I don't believe in the Titans for a lot of reasons, because I really don't think you put them on paper, they're in the echelon of these other teams. But I also think they are peaking at, like, the wrong time. And listen, I take what their record is. 8-2 is great. I wish the Jags were 8-2 and peaking to that performance, and we could have this discussion about them. So hats off to Tennessee. What they've done is pretty incredible. In fact, some of the teams they've beaten, it's impressive. With Derrick Henry on the bench now, too. But I just don't think they're going to play this football for the rest of the year and at the right times. And so I think Wingo's got a point there in that tweet. Who is that team, though, Casey? Is it Kansas City this year, now sitting at 6-4, that now goes and makes a run?
I don't think they start that today if it is Kansas City, because Dallas is pretty good. And Dallas is going to throw the ball around. Obviously, Amari Cooper-less will be a problem for them, but I don't know if that starts now for the Chiefs. Looking just at what's out there today, a team that could make a run, I don't think the Vikings are good enough to make a run like that, but they have underperformed. They've got really good players. They've got the Packers coming in today. So if you want to make a statement right there, you could start with that. So that's a team that I kind of have my eyes on. And the Bengals-Raiders is an interesting one as well, because 2 teams we thought were good have taken steps back. They both need to make runs now if they even want to be in the playoffs. So I think that's an interesting candidate for what you're talking about. By the way, Titans playing the Texans today. They'll get a win there. Rumor is they're calling it the Donta Foreman revenge game.
Yeah, they'll be they're going to be 9-2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. And they're going to win 7 in a row. And the schedule will dictate some of this, of course. Although Tennessee now, they lost to the Jets, so that's weird. Yeah. But listen, the Bills are 6-3. They're a team that could just roll off everything from here on out. And they're not stuck in the mud, I wouldn't say. But they're 6-3. Patriots are 7-4. You take some of these contenders. Could it be a team like the Steelers? I just don't see the Steelers doing something like that.
I don't either.
The Ravens, by the way, it looks like Lamar Jackson's 50-50 is what I saw last night because he's sick. The Ravens, I feel like they already got lucky to even be 6-3. Like, I'm not sure how good they are.
Who is their backup? Do we even know? It's definitely not Robert Griffin III anymore. He's calling games on ESPN.
Gosh, I feel
Is
like
it Trace McSorley? Is that the actual?
It might be. It might be McSorley, yeah.
Holy yikes.
It might be. I don't know for sure. I like your candidate. The Bengals and Browns are interesting. See, the Browns especially. The Browns have been bad. You know why? Because Nick Chubb's been out.
Yeah, tell me about it.
All you got to do is look at the Jags and James Robinson being out. Well, they've been bad, too, because Nick Chubb's been out. Well, they get Chubb back today.
Yeah, they do, and they've been without Kareem Hunt as well. It's been a weird situation for the Browns this year. Kevin Stefanski, the coach of the year last year, needs to start proving his coaching skills. Baker Mayfield also not 100%, so need to hand it to Nick Chubb a lot today for the Cleveland Browns.
Could the Colts and Chargers be one of those teams as well? I mean, there's plenty of candidates in the AFC to do what that tweet was talking about, go on a run the rest of the year. All right, we got to take a break. One more hour to go here on ESPN 690 Game Day live from the DUUUVAL house. Hang with us for another hour, talking Jags, talking NFL, all the way up until 11 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Looking for a great career that can take you places? The Jacksonville Transportation Authority offers miles of opportunity, and the JTA is now hiring bus operators. We offer competitive pay and benefits with a starting wage of $16.43 per hour. We're offering hiring bonuses from $10,000 to $15,000. CDL training is available, and JTA will pay for relocation to Florida. And the Sunshine State has no income tax, so your paycheck goes further. Stop looking for a job. Get yourself a new career with the JTA.
This following message is brought to you by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and its radio station.
This is Max Mayfield, former director of the National Hurricane Center. This hurricane season, you need to update your family preparedness plan so it includes COVID-19 preparations. So when a storm threatens, be ready to prepare your home and have your family hurricane kit ready. Include supplies for your pets and enough COVID-19 sanitizers, disinfectant wipes, and masks. Know your zone, know your home. For more information, go to floridastorms.org.
Boss, got some bad news in the Crooks R Us newsletter.
Uh-oh, what is it?
The headline reads, Safe Touch Security proven to be more dangerous to crooks than ever before.
Let me guess. Is it the guaranteed response? No, it's gotta be the two-way communicator, right?
Actually, it's the new integrated Safe Touch Security video cameras.
Ah, great. Safe Touch up in their game again.
Boss, now the homeowner gets notified on the Safe Touch app if someone even approaches their house.
It just doesn't seem fair.
Nowadays, getaway cars aren't even safe. Those Safe Touch systems catch everything.
Well, the good news is it doesn't change a thing. We still just stick to the Crooks R Us golden rule, stay away from Safe Touch houses. Remember that and everything will be fine.
Now, for a limited time, the Safe Touch Advantage plan includes free equipment and installation for new customers with an Advantage monitoring agreement. The Safe Touch doorbell camera, a $200 value, can be added for just $99. Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Join ESPN 690 on March 5th for the Gate River Run. Registration for the 15K, 5K for charity, Junior River Run, and the Brooks Rehabilitation Mile Challenge is now open at GateRiverRun.com. Training information is available on the website. See you at the starting line.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
Hello there, I'm Mark Robbins. In the NBA Saturday night, the Portland Trailblazers proving once again they're tough to beat at home. The Sixers proved no match for Dame and the fellas.
Here's Dame. Pulls back from 18. Hits it. 35 for Damian Lillard. And that is the most points in a game by a Trailblazer this season. 107-100.
Rip City Radio with the call as Damian Lillard finished with 39 points in a 118-111 win for the Blazers, who are 8-1 at home. Elsewhere, Giannis had 32 points, 20 rebounds. The Bucks beat Orlando 117-108. How about college basketball from Saturday? 6th-ranked Purdue over number 18 North Carolina, and number 5 Villanova beat 17th-ranked Tennessee. The Boilers and Wildcats meet later today. How about that? In college football Saturday, number 1 Georgia, number 2 Alabama pick up wins. 3rd-ranked Oregon thumped by 23rd-ranked Utah 38-7, while number 4 Ohio State mauls Michigan State 56-7. And Manchester United's Ole Gunnar no longer the club's manager. The announcement coming Sunday morning after Manchester's stunning Saturday loss 4-1 to Watford. The club issued a statement thanking the legend Gunnar for his tireless efforts. And Terrence Crawford over Sean Porter by a TKO in the 10th round as Crawford retains his WBO World Welterweight title. After the fight, Porter announced his retirement.
Coming up Monday, we're looking ahead to Monday Night Football as the Bucs look to snap their 2-game losing streak against one of Tom Brady's toughest foes. That's Monday morning. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio.
This is ESPN 690 Game Day Live,
sponsored by the Duval House.
Here's your host live from the Duval House, Brent Martineau.
Hey, welcome back. 10 o'clock hour here on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz, starting to build some traffic down here near the stadium, as usual, during the 10 o'clock hour. We will take you up until 11 o'clock. I'll run inside, do some TV, countdown to kickoff at 11:30 on CBS 47. You can watch the game, 1 o'clock on Fox 30. We'll do a post-game show on the Action News Jax app right after that. And, by the way, 5:30 today on ESPN 690, part of the Jacksonville Classic. Florida State will play Loyola Marymount. There's actually 5 games going on at UNF Arena today. The UNF women are playing right now to get it going. And then 4 games going on at UNF Arena in the Jacksonville Classic. So Florida State on ESPN 690 at 5:30 for the basketball game against LMU. They'll play again tomorrow at some point. We just don't know exactly when. So 4 more games tomorrow will be played at UNF Arena in the Jacksonville Classic. Also, after the FSU basketball game tonight, we will have Westwood One coverage of Sunday Night Football, and that is Steelers-Chargers, right? Steelers-Chargers.
Yeah, that's correct.
Tonight on ESPN 690. So, hey, it's a full lineup day for Action Sports Jacks, whether it's ESPN 690, CBS 47, Fox 30, our family of networks. I am seeing some San Francisco 49ers fans, more maybe than I thought. But
what's the jersey situation?
The jersey situation, Jerry Rice, a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Not surprising.
Saw Nick Bosa.
Good. I don't know about good, but just, yeah.
There's a Dallas Cowboy fan walking by. Might be in the wrong city.
Yep, not even close, but yeah. At least you tried, I guess.
She waved.
Oh, that's good.
Waved.
Hello.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Dallas is playing where today? Kansas City,
Kansas
right?
City, yeah.
We're far away.
Wrong flight. She missed the flight. She said Jacksonville sounds nice this time of year.
Got Trevor Lawrence jersey walking by. I don't think it's him. George Kittle a couple of times.
Makes sense.
Kittle, T-shirt here. Yeah, that's popular, you would think.
So
we got 85 for the Jags, walking by 85 for the Niners. Who's 85 for the Jags? My guess is these aren't Dan Arnold jerseys.
Hey, you never know. Maybe there's some tape on the back of there.
Might have been smarter to put Dan Arnold.
So what I'm
the
hearing
Tebow
is
jersey guys.
No Trey Lance?
I saw one Trey Lance jersey, but
That's
everybody's going to have to sell their Garoppolo jersey in San Francisco soon.
Yeah.
That's how this guy's smart to get the Kittle. We got a Mostert jersey.
All
Raheem
right.
Mostert. How about that?
That's a good one. I mean, he's only played one game in the last year, but
Is he still on their team?
Yeah, he's still there. He's just hurt all the time.
Yeah. He had that unbelievable year, right? That postseason when they went to the Super Bowl. So
yeah, he's good. Just can't stay on the field.
He was incredible. So anyway, that's what I've seen. Did I see somebody else? Oh, I saw a Shaq Quarterman jersey. I thought it actually was Jerry Rice, and then there was a guy in the Jags with a number 50, and I'm like, is that a Telvin Smith jersey? I haven't seen Telvin Smith jersey in a while, and it was Shaq Quarterman. So
that's interesting. Good for that guy.
Yeah,
probably knows him.
By the way, I think Quarterman's going to be a good player for the Jags. Local guy, of course, which is very cool. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz will continue to keep you updated on the jersey search here outside the DUUUVAL house until 11 o'clock. Once again, the beneficiary from the DUUUVAL house today, the Arc Jacksonville, my man Moose is here. That's the most important thing. You get your day started with a little Moose, and that's an awesome thing. You just heard a fight update, by the way, on our SportsCenter update. Well, we got a big day for Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 as Austin Lane goes and represents tonight. He's in Houston, and he fights Juan Adams tonight. I saw some pictures from the weigh-in. I texted him yesterday. He's ready to roll, and he weighed in at 246. He'll be lighter than Juan Adams, but Juan Adams didn't look overly big, so I think that's a good thing, at least to my eyes. I don't think he's going to be outweighed by 30 pounds or something like he has been in other fights. It'd be very interesting to watch a big fight. Juan Adams is good. Austin Lane, this is his biggest fight since the Hardy fight, of his career. And this is on UFC Fight Pass tonight, and a chance to really propel himself up the ladder in the UFC, and maybe the next fight be in the UFC. I'm not sure if it will happen that quick, but if he wins, it could happen that quick. So a huge fight for our buddy Austin Lane today, and we'll be watching that one. Probably will fight around 8 o'clock-ish.
Yeah.
On UFC Fight Pass. You know how those things go, so it's hard to pinpoint exactly when, but it's a title fight, and UFC Fight Pass the way to go. We'll update you on Action Sports Jacks Primetime later tonight as well, on how he does. But we'll be nervous watching that one.
Yeah, nervous. Exciting as well, though. Austin, well, we know at least for sure how hard Austin prepares. Even when he didn't have a fight scheduled, he was still training as if he did. Main card's going to get going in that one, 5:30. So looking at this card in general, there is a lot of fights on this card, Brent. I'm not going to lie to you. So,
oh, really?
You have plenty of time to watch the Jags. You have plenty of time to do your post-game show. You probably have plenty of time to get back to the studio, maybe grab some early dinner, and let all these other dudes and ladies fight. And then it'll come down to the main event, Austin Lane. Again, like you said, probably around the 8 o'clock time. But it's going to be a big day for Austin Lane, and we wish him all the best, but he doesn't really need our wishes. I think he'll take care of business in Houston.
Hey, so UFC Fight Pass, I mean, anybody can pretty much sign up for that, right?
Yeah. There's nothing special about it. You can get it. You just have to order it, obviously. But, yeah, it can be done. You can just find it on the Internet. If you have a smart TV, you can do that as well. There are plans that you will purchase and everything. So you can get it for a little bit. You can get it for an extended period of time. You can get it for just tonight. There's a lot of options with UFC Fight Pass. But the moral of the story is if you're listening right now and you want to watch Austin Lane fight tonight, it can be done. UFC Fight Pass, anywhere you use the Internet or on a smart TV, and they'll get you hooked up.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with Austin Lane tonight. Looking forward to it. Again, we'll be tuned in and keep you posted on social media and hopefully have a little bit of the knockout punch highlight from Austin on Action Sports Shack's primetime tonight. Austin probably traveling back tomorrow, but maybe we'll get him on the phone during the show, 3 to 6, and definitely be here Tuesday. Programming note, by the way, Monday, Tuesday only this week on 3 to 6 on Action Sports Shacks on ESPN690. Then the Thanksgiving holiday hits Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We will be out. We'll have ESPN programming, though, all day long. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz. Let's get back to talking some football now with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I want to go back to the defense for a moment, and we'll take you around the rest of the league and also some Saturday stars that Casey does. But the defense, it's been good. I like where it's going. And I was talking to somebody about, now it's like, what have you done for me lately, right? I was talking to somebody yesterday. I was actually at, like, the post office. And we were talking, it's like, the offense. And I'm trying to explain it like, hey, all right, but the Rams offense stinks too right now. Like, it does happen. It does happen. Like, Buffalo came in here with the number one offense and scored 6 points.
Yeah.
Like, it happens. Like, we have to convince ourselves that it happens. It stinks when it's happening, but it especially happens when you were 1-15, you're not ultra talented, and you have a rookie quarterback. So, and you have your best player out. Okay? Like, I'm not saying it's acceptable, and you should accept it, but we do have to acknowledge that it happens. Well, this same guy at the post office was saying, the defense, though, I mean, I love the defense. I was like, yeah, but like for the first 5 or 6 weeks, nobody was saying that. Like, nobody said that. Nobody even thought this defense would do what they're doing over the last couple of weeks. And so, again, be careful. Is this just a 2-week thing, or do we have something in the defense that they've found? I started the show today. I think it's reliable to say now that the defense is going to hang in there. And they're going to give the offense opportunities, and they're going to make some plays. They're still not making enough plays. Their turnovers, they have 4, and they had 3 of them in one game. So they've really only forced turnovers 2 out of 9 games this year. So there's not enough evidence to say they're going to turn over San Francisco.
Right.
The other evidence part for me is that the Jags are going to play good teams pretty well. Like, they don't look like they're going to get the doors blown off them by some of the better teams in the league. And I know San Francisco's record doesn't say that, but I kind of put them in that category because the NFC West is very strong. So what I'm getting at is, how much belief do we have in the defense? And from a way looking ahead standpoint, what is there to build around on this defense that you can say, hey, by next year, this could be a pretty good defense? Because I kind of said that to the person in the post office yesterday. I look at this defense, and I look at Josh Allen, and I look at Myles Jack, who I still think is a good player, and I look at Shaq Griffin, the way he's playing, and I think Rayshon Jenkins is pretty good. I look at those guys, and I'm like, all right, they've got a few guys you can build around, and I can start selling you on a couple of other guys, like Devon Hamilton, like Tyson Campbell's going to get way better than he's been. I don't know if he'll be elite, but he's going to be playing way better than he's been. We still haven't even seen Andre Sisco in the lineup, so you know you can upgrade from the free safety position. And then, I mean, I mentioned a guy like Shaq Gordon. Like, I've seen some good football out of some of these guys. I still have not enough to say Chason is in that category. But if you have 4 or 5 that you think are pretty good, well, you go get another 4 or 5 in free agency in the draft. The Jaguars' defense by next year, it might not be 2017, but it could turn into quickly like a top 10 defense in the NFL.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to the guy in the post office for beating our lead story at 10. So that conversation is good. By the way, quick side note, Brent, does you ever go anywhere and anybody talks to you about anything other than sports? Like, does anybody ever come up to you and say, "Hi, Mr. Martineau, how are you?" Or is it just like, "What's wrong with the Jags?"
Yeah, it's usually what's wrong with the Jags.
Yeah. Okay, so you sold me on Devon Hamilton. I didn't really need to be sold, though. Miles Jack, Josh Allen, I'm with it. I'll give you another one. I think Smoot should be on this team for a while.
Good call on Smoot.
He's playing well. He's coming into his own, and there's no reason to look to replace him, in my opinion. Shaq Griffin as well. Jenkins is interesting. I'm with it, but I would still like to see a little more because my lasting memories of Rayshon Jenkins are taunting while we're down 20 and getting penalties. So that's got to change. Tyson Campbell, as bad as it looked early on, is valuable, I think, and I think you would agree because, yeah, he got torched a bit and it didn't look good, but last week he played better, and if he continues to play better the rest of the season, we're probably going to look up and say, all right, we have something here. So that'll be interesting. Obviously, you're going to need another, unless you think Shaq Quarterman is the guy, but you're probably going to need to bring in another linebacker to play with Miles.
By the way, Wilson's played pretty well. I just don't want to put him as part of the future plan, you know?
I absolutely agree with you. He has played well enough for sure. I just agree with you on the future part of it. I agree that Chason right now, the jury is still out, and it looks like it's going to be out for a bit because every time I see people impacting the quarterback, it's Smoot and Allen. Roy Robertson-Harris, by the way, is not playing bad. He looks like he can fit in with Devon Hamilton, so they do have pieces. The question is, where can they get better? And to your point, we need to see Cisco at some point. Like, that's fine that Wingard is playing okay, if you will, or well, even if you want to say. But you drafted Cisco where you drafted him. We need to see the guy play if he's healthy.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too dramatic about this part of the conversation. But, again, Josh Allen is a beast. Like, he is a really good player. Chason's going to have another year to prove that he can develop and get better. He just hasn't shown enough for me to rely on. I talk about Devon Hamilton. I actually think the guy that's really made the difference over the last couple of weeks is Roy Robertson-Harris. I mean, he has been very good. And I think the Jaguars are going to draft a big guy on the interior early, like maybe with their top pick, maybe a Jordan Davis type guy. And that could really change their defensive front and make guys like Josh Allen and others really do well. They have to add more, no doubt about it, in 2022. But Miles, again, is part of it. They'll find somebody else to play linebacker. Look, at all the good teams, even the great defenses, Baltimore's done this for years. They don't keep their linebackers. They just go find new ones.
Yeah.
So it can be done. And I think Miles can be a special player from that standpoint and really is in the prime of his career right now. Rayshon Jenkins is probably a good player. Again, I think I've said this a couple times this week. I've heard the communication end of things has been the trouble spot with Rayshon, and I think that's why Wingard has played more than Cisco. They're afraid of the communication problem between a rookie and maybe Rayshon, is what I've heard. So how true that is, well, I don't know, but he needs to do a better job if that's the case, because I think he's a pretty good player, and they spent a lot of money on him.
Yeah. Well,
Shaq Griffin's obviously done a good job.
To me, that's a problem. If you paid so much money on a guy and you can't, there's communication breakdown. Like, that's a problem. Like, I'm good for Wingard that he can fill in and, like, I guess relay the communication. But if you're worried about a guy you paid $30+ million to, so you can't figure out if your safety that you drafted relatively early in the draft is going to work out, that's a problem to me. You can't be playing a guy $30 million that can't communicate and figure out where they're supposed to be. I don't like the optics of that at all.
Yeah, I don't either. Now, I will say this. I don't know if that's all on Rayshon. I think Cisco comes with a little bit of a reputation even from the college days of, yeah, he'll go get the ball, but he'll also allow big plays.
Sure.
And so the combination of, all right, maybe Rayshon, by the way, the last couple of weeks is communicating a lot better, and maybe he's playing better now that he's adjusted to the Joe Cullen defense too, even though he's a veteran guy. I mean, not every guy has to be a rookie to be able to adjust,
Right.
So maybe he's more comfortable in it. But I don't know if this is all Rayshon. I don't want to paint that picture. I think it's also, like, Wingard may be really good at that part. Like, that might be a strength of Wingard's. And it's not a strength of a rookie like Cisco, who also will allow some bust plays. And listen, the defensive principles, they don't want to give up these big plays. They just don't. And that's what probably is holding Cisco back right now from being in the lineup, the combination of that. And I will say, Wingard, the fans don't like him. He's played way better football than anybody would give him credit for.
Yeah.
And so he's not giving you like this week in, week out reason to take him out of the game and try Cisco.
Other than the fact that, I'm with you, Brent. I just think at some point, all we heard all training camp was these guys are going to make an impact immediately. Obviously, Cisco was hurt, but we were led to believe that when he was healthy, he would play, and here we are.
All right, well, that brings us to a little bit different conversation. We had this conversation on Friday. We didn't expand it to include the draft. But, again, going back to the post office where a lot of good ideas are developed, apparently.
Apparently.
And this was the first time I've gone to the post office in, 8 months.
Maybe go more often.
Yeah, I guess I should. If the other day we did a breakdown. Coming off the Patriots game, what hit me was Judon and the tight ends and the money they spent. And we did this whole exercise, and we looked it up, and it's okay, they spent $163 million. The Jags could have made those same moves. They could have overpaid for some guys and brought them in and made the similar moves. Well, history says you might get a bump in year one. The Jags proved that in 2017, but then there's not sustainability with spending that kind of money in the NFL. There are countless examples of that. So the Patriots may suffer from that over the next couple of years. We'll see. Maybe they're immune to that. The Patriots have been immune to a lot of things that are trendy in the NFL. They work around it. So what we did is we looked at the draft, the free agency classes. And when we went through that free agency class, Casey, I don't think we were like, man, this free agency class sucks. I actually think Trent Baalke and Urban Meyer have done a pretty good job with their free agency class. Jamal Agnew and Rudy Ford are like MVPs of the class for what you spent for them and what you asked them to do and what they are doing. Let's not dismiss that. These guys are playing and making big-time plays. Jamal Agnew alone has 3 of the top plays this year for the Jags, and Rudy Ford has another one. So those guys have been tremendous signings. I think Marvin Jones, outside of the last 3 weeks, because the whole offense is in a funk, was on track to do exactly what you thought he would do. He helped you win that Miami game, by the way. And so I hope he can get going and finish off this year because I think he will be a good signing at the end of the day if he gets back on pace for pretty much the same kind of years he's had in Detroit. And that's what you sign him up for. I think Manhurts, he cleared the way on that Agnew play. Now, he had a lot of penalties, but I think you brought him in to block. And I think he's still, nobody will give credit for a blocking tight end, but I think he does that. I would say on the defensive side, Shaq Griffin has been really good. He gave up 2 touchdowns to Metcalf. One of them was a crazy good play. Outside of that, Shaq has missed opportunities to pick off the ball, but he's been good. Rayshon Jenkins, I'm not kind of ready to say good or anything, especially after the conversation we just had. You bring in Damian Wilson is starting for you, and not that he was kind of like a free agent late pickup. Who else? I'll throw this in there. The acquisition of Dan Arnold has been terrific.
Yes, it has.
Absolutely terrific. And by the way, Dan Arnold, we are inflating. He has not played as good as we talk about him. He has dropped a pass over the middle for a pick. He has dropped a fumble that was returned for a touchdown against Tennessee. He said last week was his worst game he's played in years.
Yes, he did.
and yet today, if he catches 50 yards in receiving yards, he will become the first tight end in franchise history to do that for 4 games in a row.
Oh, my.
So we're not even seeing the ceiling of Dan Arnold because he is a mismatch for the Jags, and that was a tremendous trade because it's helping your young quarterback in your offense. What would this team be without Dan Arnold right now on offense?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
So I'm sure I'm missing. Roy Robertson Harris, by the way, didn't do much in the first 6 weeks. He was he wasn't healthy, and now he comes back, and he's impacting.
Yeah.
So Malcolm Brown trade, pretty good. Malcolm Brown's even blocking for James Robinson on touchdowns.
Yeah, how about that?
That was a good we can hammer this organization for a lot of things. Their free agents and trades and acquisitions were pretty good.
They were.
The problem is the draft has not been good.
No.
Right? And so what we didn't talk about Friday and what we did talk about in the post office yesterday was that the draft class has to catch up. Now, it's way too early to write off the draft class. Trevor's going to be good. We're convinced of it. We think ETN will make a difference. What do you do? You can't do anything about a guy who gets hurt, right, for the year.
Right.
That happens. It's just bad luck. we think Walker Little is going to be the future left tackle.
Right.
Andre Sisco, I have no idea what to think. I was excited about the guy. I didn't think he'd play until halfway through the year because of the injury, not because they think Wingert's better than him right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know what he's going to bring to the table down the road. Who am I missing? Tyson Campbell has been bad overall. Like, he hasn't been good. Like, if you were to grade Tyson Campbell, even though he played well last week, he's been bad.
Yes.
And so he's, like, hopefully gets better. But their draft class just isn't doing enough. Luke Farrell, whatever, right? He's a 6th-round pick. Like, I really look at these top 4 rounds, and what have they done for you? And they're not doing enough. But I hesitate to say they're busts, and I hesitate to say it's a bad class. I just don't think we've seen enough out of them. ETN being hurt, Walker Little not playing, Andre Sisco not playing. I mean, we don't know enough about the draft class to know if they're going to be good at some point in part of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. The free agents, they haven't been as bad as maybe it has been perceived, not necessarily by us, but by fans and in general. I think it would have went a long way if you signed Hunter Henry. I know it would have cost you a lot of money, but look how good that's looking for Mac Jones. But in the draft class, I don't understand how this continuously keeps happening over and over again, where you draft guys that just don't perform right away when everybody else has guys that are making impact right away. Tyson Campbell, though, I'm not going to award him greatest corner after one game that was even okay, but that's just how bad it looked in the first couple of games. So if you're I know you're a crypto guy, Brent. If you're looking for something to get in on the floor, maybe the Tyson Campbell stock is for you, because it looks like it's going up. We'll see, obviously, if he's on Ayuk today and how that looks. But, yeah, that's got to happen. And to me, it just – what in the Cisco thing is just mind-blowing to me is what it's back to. You had to pick a safety. You decided to not pick guys like Holland from Oregon or Morig from TCU. You end up with Andre Sisco, and he can't even get on the field. And if Andrew Wingard ends up being really good and they saw something and Urban Meyer was right, fantastic. Then I guess that's what it is. But I just can't get that out of my head of when Urban said these guys were going to make impacts in training camp. And he was either saying that to get everybody off his back, or he was dead wrong. And I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think sooner or later they have to give this kid a shot just to prove themselves right. I give them credit for not being too egotistical about putting the kid in. I mean, a lot of teams will do that, you know. They just want to play their guys to make sure they prove themselves right.
Yeah.
But right now they're opening the door for criticism with the draft pick because they're not playing him. And they're not worried about it, obviously. I wonder if we'll see him at some point. And I'd like to see him at some point, especially for a defense that just has 4 turnovers. That's what this guy was drafted on, is that he is a turnover machine. And so you don't have that guy in the field and he's healthy. Yeah. It's a weird deal. It's a very weird thing.
Jordan Smith as well, Brent, was a 4th-round pick.
Yeah, no, he wasn't a 4th-round guy, was he?
Yeah.
Jordan Smith, the defensive end?
Yeah, 4th, 121.
Really? He was a 4th-round guy?
Yeah.
I thought he was later.
No, he's a 4th-round guy. He's not even getting on the field.
Well,
now, granted,
by the way, to credit them, they said on draft night, this guy's not going to – we think this guy's going to turn into something, but he is not going to be ready to play this year. So they set the table for that, and so I'll give them that. Now, they got to be right down the road.
Yeah.
But I'll give them that they said, hey, don't count on him this year.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair, but – obviously, it's easy to play this game, but like Rashad Weaver's playing for Tennessee. He was drafted after him. I mean, there's guys after him that played his position that are making impacts, and he hasn't even seen the field. But to your point, they did say that. I'm just looking at it from the outside of what's happened, do you trust that that's actually going to be the case?
Well, no, but again, I trust them a little bit more that they knew that he wasn't going to be ready now, and they see a ceiling in him. You know, to be honest with you, you go back to the college days, it's like recruiting a freshman and not playing him, but you know he's going to be good down the road, right?
Yeah.
So, there's a part of that. Listen, you don't judge draft classes on year one. You just don't, whether they're really good right away or not. It's like a 3-year compilation, and that's what happens. Like, we can sit here and project, but we don't know yet. And so they've got time to be right on Jordan Smith is my point. Listen, the draft class is not good enough right now. And even the quarterback isn't playing, like, unbelievable.
Right.
Even though we see signs of him being unbelievable, he's not playing unbelievable. So, the draft class is the problem. The free agency class is not a problem for the Jags. I think that's what the moral of the story and the conversation is. It's been pretty good. Like, they know how to identify talent. do they know how to identify blue chip talent in that regard? Well, we could say they either didn't go after Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith and what is it, Josh Johnson, the other safety?
Yes.
Or
John.
Oh, John, sorry. John Johnson. Josh Johnson is the quarterback, right?
Yes, that would be him.
So they either misread the market and didn't bid high enough, or they were like, well, we don't want to pay that much at this moment. And by the way, some teams, when you're trying to come back from 1-15, don't feel like paying top dollar for a guy. So it does happen. It's not just these guys. That does happen. But right now it doesn't look like, it looks like you could have got better if you got a Hunter Henry. Looks like you maybe could have got better if you got John Johnson. And I don't even really know how he's playing up in Cleveland. But those are the things that come in play. I would just say, if you look at their free agent class, it's been overall pretty good so far for the Jags. They had to revamp a 1-15 team. They did. I mean, they were 1-15. And there's 8 games to go and still judge this thing. I'm telling you, if they win 3 or 4 games down the stretch, and I'm not saying they will, but if they could and they do, well, now we feel totally different. Because if you win 3 or 4 games, guys are playing well. Tyson Campbell's playing better. Trevor Lawrence is playing better. Those kind of things are happening. So the story is not written yet on the free agent class, the draft class, Urban Meyer, Trent Baalke, Trevor Lawrence, and this football team in 2021. I think we lose sight of that. We're near the end of the high school season, the college season. There's a hell of a lot of football still to play in the NFL season. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back. We're live from the DUUUVAL House, ESPN690. Game day live from the DUUUVAL House, each and every home game for the Jacksonville Jaguars here until 11 o'clock. I got to run over to TV for an 11:30 show on CBS 47, countdown to kickoff, and then 1 o'clock game on Fox 30. It's the Jags. It's the 49ers. And we got an NFL Sunday, week number 11. We talk more about it coming up next.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Today, partly sunny, breezy, and mild with highs in the low 70s. We will increase the clouds overnight tonight. Ahead of our next cold front, temperatures will stay mild, dropping into the upper 50s. The cold front will be sweeping through the area on Monday, so expect partly to mostly cloudy skies with a morning and midday shower. Temperatures will top out in the mid-70s. Behind the front, much cooler on Tuesday, sunny, breezy, and definitely chilly with highs in the upper 50s. I'm meteorologist Alyssa Pedgick, and that's your Action News Jax First Alert forecast.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds, where now you can save up to 41% off during Beard's anniversary sale.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a preview of Sunday Night Football. It's AFC action from Southern California when Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers play host to the Steelers. Pittsburgh's coming off a tie with the Lions, with backup quarterback Mason Rudolph filling in for Ben Roethlisberger. Now in his 4th year in the league, Rudolph says that maturity has him much better prepared to step in.
I'm so much more comfortable out there. Experience is the best teacher, and these opportunities don't come around often. So I, obviously was excited to get it, and we got to make more plays to get in the win call.
The Chargers fell to 5-4 last week with a loss to the Vikings, but are still in the hunt in the wide-open AFC West race. Ryan Radke and Hall of Famer Terrell Davis will have the call of the Steelers at the Chargers on Sunday Night Football.
Get ready for the game with more details and preview at WestwoodOneSports.com. And remember to listen for the NFL right here all season long.
For the ones who are always in the know.
Delivery confirmed.
For the ones who keep things running. For the innovators and the problem solvers. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, experienced staff at local branches, and free access to experts to help answer your toughest questions. So whatever challenge you face, we have the knowledge and products to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey. Frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started, plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, 0 heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. 0 heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So it's about that time for an oil change? We've got what you need. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic or Full Synthetic High Mileage and an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for just $31.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-333-1750. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-333-1750. That's 800-333-1750 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-333-1750. 800-333-1750.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN690.
No, not like a win, because the wins is completely different. I want everything to feel different, taste different, act different when you win. When you lose, you just show that's what videotape's for, and that's where you reward. I always start each meeting, reward the guys that played really well, and then you got to show. I think it became that way in college as well, and I don't want to keep relating college to pro, but that's where I spent the majority of my time. That these are grown men, these are people. You have conversations with them, explain the plan to win, explain the situations where we lost by 6 points and where those 6 points could have been made up, and it was all over the field. We could have made those 6 points up.
Well, that is true. I mean, the problem with that, and those, I was thinking of this when I heard that Wednesday when I was down at Jags headquarters. From Urban Meyer is, I'm sure the Colts could probably say the same thing. I mean, every team can say, hey, we could have made this play, this play, this play. And it's about making those plays. So the Jags were close. They couldn't finish it off. The fumble at the end of the game would have been a steal. I mean, that would have been such a steal game for the Jags, like one that I haven't seen in a long time. Again, Baltimore reminded me of that with a face mask on Blake Bortles. And then they kicked the big field goal, the long one from Lambeau, I think that would have been. And it reminded me a little bit of that time, but maybe it wasn't Lambeau. It was Jason Myers. That was Jason Myers that kicked that. But anyway, Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz, ESPN 690 Game Day live from the DUUUVAL House here on the Foot of the Heart Bridge at the Teal House. We do this every game day morning for the Jacksonville Jaguars from 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. Good to have ESPN 690 out here. The Arc Jacksonville, the beneficiary today. Everything brought to you by Phillips and Hunt and Folio Weekly 2.0. Do a great job on a game day and raise some money for local charities. The Arc Jacksonville, my man Moose out here today. He does so much with them. I think the Arc Jacksonville, I think of Moose, of course, and I think of Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles does so. We did a story a couple years back on Blake and what he does with the Arc Jacksonville. And my word is he still is very connected and still donates dollars for scholarships for the folks associated with the Arc Jacksonville. So it is he's a good dude and has a close affiliation with everybody over there at the Arc Jacksonville. So a good deal today, raising some awareness and some money for all the good people at the Arc Jacksonville. Let's talk a little bit more about the NFL. We've been really dissecting the Jags and talking about them long-term, the second half of the year, and also today against the San Francisco 49ers. What about the rest of the NFL? What game catches your attention today in the NFL? It's got to be Dallas, Kansas City. Dallas is unbelievable potentially, right? They had the stinker against Denver. But outside of that, they've been very good this year. They're one of the best teams in the NFL. What is Kansas City? Was that a one-off? Did they find themselves? And if they found themselves, look out, because Kansas City played bad football for like a good portion of the year and still is 6-4 and in first place, Casey.
Yeah, it's somehow, some way, and you heard Travis Kelce. He's got his swag back. That's what he said last week after finally being involved. But, yeah, that's it's an interesting matchup to say the least, because the Cowboys – right when you think things are going well, they're going to be without Amari Cooper for a couple of games. Michael Gallup will play again, though, for Dallas. So by the way, if you're a fantasy player. Michael Gallup, probably a pretty good option against a Kansas City defense that can't stop anybody, and that's really the key for me. And Dak Prescott, this game is on the road. It is in Kansas City. And Dak Prescott, not that he really needs to prove much more, but he can really solidify what he is and what the Cowboys are by dominating Kansas City in Arrowhead. Tougher to do than to say, but I think it's a valid option. I think the Cowboys are pretty good.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are good, too. I think what's interesting here is the Cowboys' defense.
Yes.
You know, Mahomes and the Chiefs coming off a really good performance and like the old self kind of performance. Well, the Dallas Cowboys defense, like I just talked about in the last segment, the Jags may be getting into a top 10 defense. The Dallas Cowboys defense last year stunk.
Yes, they did.
Like it was awful. Trevon Diggs stunk.
Very bad.
And now look at him. And look at the way he's playing. Look at the way the defense is playing. They add Micah Parsons. He's playing out of his mind. They have fixed their defense in one offseason.
Yes.
So that shows you how much you can elevate your defense in a few months in the offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. But the question for me today will be, obviously, Tyreek Hill is, I'm just going to say unguardable because it's a very tough thing to do. Can Diggs stay with him today? Just in general, running with him, that'll be interesting. And how they can limit him. Travis Kelce is obviously a problem like the Cowboys haven't seen. I know the Cowboys have played some decent tight ends, but Travis Kelce is the cream of the crop there. So it'll be interesting, and if Trayvon Diggs can play with Tyreek Hill, that changes everything because that is the guy. He's an incredible mismatch. You lock him down, then you focus on Travis Kelce, and then all of a sudden you might be able to limit Kansas City's points, which if they can't score points, they have no chance because you know they're giving up points.
All right, I got a few more games. I got 4 games that I really think are kind of cool to watch today around the NFL. Colts and the Bills as well. What are the Colts? I mean, I think they're good, but are they winnable good? You know, they feel like a team that is going to put up numbers. Their stats are pretty cute, and I'm just not sure how many times they're going to win. The Bills, I think, are starting to get back on track to who we thought they would be since we saw them here a couple weeks ago. Hard to say because they played like, I think it was the Texans, the Jags, and the Jets.
Yeah.
And they had the upset against the Jags. What are the Bills right now? Are they the team that's going to get their groove and not lose again? They have potential to do that. It's a tough task for the Colts in Buffalo. I have no idea what the weather is. But if the Colts can win, to me that says they are for real.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I was looking that up right as you said it. 40 degrees and raining. So that sounds fun for the Colts.
That helps the running game of the Colts, but I think that plays right into the hands of Buffalo because they're very good on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're Carson Wentz, maybe stop throwing it with your left hand. You got away with it against the Jags, but Buffalo, a little different. Just throw it with your right hand if you so choose to throw the football. But, yeah, if I'm Indy, it's kind of like a James Robinson situation. They gave up running the ball or they were being stopped last week. But you got to run the ball consistently. Jonathan Taylor is great. And that is a game I have my eye on as well just because Colts seem to be okay. Colts play some defense sometimes when they choose to. Buffalo is a very similar story. They play defense when they choose to. So that could be an interesting game that could go either way. And Buffalo, I think they could go on a run and win games, but I think at some point it's going to come back to them that they don't run the ball very well. I think they got to give Zach Moss a chance to run the ball as they feature back. Obviously, they have Singletary as well, but I don't know how that will hurt them down the road, but that is a game to watch today for sure.
All right. The other one I like is the Packers and the Vikings. Yeah. I actually think the Vikings are going to pull the upset here. The Vikings, who I have criticized Zimmer, they don't know how to win. They're weird, but they can be very good. I mean, they are the most strange team. They are the best team from a performance and statistical standpoint this year, but has like the worst record for the best team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they could easily be an elite team in the NFL right now. They could have 8 wins. But they don't, and that's a problem. Yet I think they get one today.
Yeah, their defense statistically always plays better at home in the Dome in Minneapolis, and they'll be able to do that today. But, yeah, it's incredible that Minnesota doesn't win when you say Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook. And even Kirk Cousins, we talked about him a little bit on Friday, but that's explosive as explosive gets. So the fact that they don't win games is interesting, but like I said, that defense is a lot better in the Dome. Obviously, when it comes to the Packers, it comes down to Devontae Adams. Aaron Jones will not play in this game for Green Bay, and all of a sudden Green Bay has gone away from Aaron Jones anyway, and it's the A.J. Dillon show in his quads. So that'll be an interesting to see what A.J. Dillon does as a feature back for the Packers, but it's always hard to score against the Vikings in the Dome. I think that one will be fascinating as well. And I don't disagree with you. Minnesota could very well win this football game.
Yeah, I think they do. Here's the other one. Weird game to say, but I think this is a season-changing kind of game that has potential. Bengals and the Raiders. And who are these teams? Like, what are they? Cincinnati, this is a tough pick, I think, in this game. It's like a pick-em game, and they're both 5-4, but they've both lost a couple now. And they were the hot teams and the darlings early on in the first 7 weeks of the NFL season. But now I'm not really sure what they are. And I feel like the Bengals are going to win because the Raiders just have so much to overcome, including not having their coach. For maybe that's catching up with them. I think the Bengals get this game, but whoever loses this game, I think is in for like just a downturn of the season. Like, I think they're going to be very average the rest of the way, and they might even go into like losing a lot the rest of the way. And by the way, if that's the Bengals, look out Zach Taylor for your job.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. By the way, I am thrilled, absolutely thrilled this is a 4 o'clock game and I'm thrilled I have 2 TVs. Not a flex, just was in college and happened to have 2 of them, to play games, watch stuff. Anyway, not important. The game is at 4, so the Jags game will be over. I'll have the postgame show on the app. I'll have the Cowboys-Chiefs on one TV, but I got to see Bengals-Raiders because I think Joe Burrow's really good. I like watching him play. Jamar Chase is must-see, but I like the Raiders as well. And I think the difference in this game will be where this game is played. It's played in Las Vegas, where after us on ESPN690 from Monday to Friday at 7 o'clock, you can hear Spain and Fitz. Jason Fitz, I know, is a friend of the show, Brent, from before my time, but he's a Raiders fan, and I've heard him talk on multiple occasions about how rowdy and how a college-like atmosphere it is in Vegas and in that stadium, so I can't wait to go there and see a game there one day. But the crowd will play a factor into this game. I think it gives the Raiders the advantage. Still love Derek Carr. And I think the Raiders win this football game strictly because they're at home. The crowd gives them the boost, everything they've been going to. But I think it's going to be a fascinating, sneaky, very good game you should watch if you have the chance.
Yeah, I think it is too. And I wonder – I had a hard time picking this game. My problem is I just don't trust the Raiders right now. And it's weird to say I trust Cincinnati more, but I kind of do. You're talking about 2 quarterbacks that can be really good. And they have to elevate their team one way or the other. So that's a fascinating game. Those are the 4 games I think that are really kind of cool to watch. Chiefs, Dallas, Raiders, Bengals, Colts, Bills, Packers, Vikings. I think those are the big games around the NFL that have a ton of storylines. I mean, you can count your other ones depending on who you have in fantasy and who you're picking and all that stuff. But I think those 4 games, to me, are going to be interesting to watch. And then we got this one here, San Francisco and the Jags getting ready to go. I got to go inside that stadium for the countdown to kickoff on CBS 47 coming up at 11:30. I will give you an update. I do see quite a bit of San Francisco fans kind of entering Gate 3. So the 49ers are loud and proud. Once again, they're going to come from all over, right? Orlando, Tampa, anywhere in Florida, anywhere in Georgia, anywhere in South Carolina. They're going to make the trip down because first time since 2005 they've played a game in Jacksonville. And we'll see if they can beat the Jags and win their first game ever in Jacksonville. Hopefully that doesn't happen. They are 6.5-point favorites going into this game. At least that's the last one that I saw. Jags, can they get their offense on track? That's the big question. Can they have the game for Trevor Lawrence that a lot of the other rookies seem to be at least having one of those games? Mac Jones is having many of those games, but other rookies are having some. We haven't seen that kind of game from Trevor yet. Is this the game we see it? We should get James Robinson in the lineup here in Jacksonville. Expect him to play in this game, and hopefully he looks more his normal self so they can give it to him 18, 20, 22 times in this football game. Should be a lot of fun. 1 o'clock game on Fox 30. We'll have post-game on the Action News Jax app after. Don't forget here on ESPN 690, Casey's going to take it all the way until 11. Give you some Saturday stars. 5:30, we got FSU basketball here on ESPN 690. You're home for the Noles in football and basketball. And what a win for the Noles yesterday in football. We'll talk all about that one on Monday. And coming up later tonight, we do have the Chargers and the Steelers on our Westwood One coverage Sunday night football. So that's kind of the lineup that's set. Don't forget Austin Lane fights later tonight, too. We'll update you on him. Casey Kurtz, take it away, man. Have a good Sunday.
I will do that. Have fun on TV. Do your thing.
All right, so long from the Duval House, ESPN 690. Game Day Live from the Duval House, each and every home game for the Jags. Brought to you by Phillips & Hunt, Folio Weekly 2.0, and a shout-out to the Arc Jacksonville, today's charity beneficiary. We'll be back on ESPN 690. Casey Kurtz takes us home.
Just be positive. Your Community First Mortgage champions make sure you get a great rate, a quick close, and can save you about $3,000 in closing costs. Apply at communityfirstfl.org. Community First Credit Union. Just be yourself. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
In today's world, there's a lot of ways to know what's happening. At Action News Jax, we make sure our local stories have more detail, so you get every angle that impacts you. We dig for answers because you deserve the whole story. Taking time to provide context so you're clear on what's really going on. Because we know information is thrown at you 24/7. And we want you to know that Action News Jax is local coverage you can count on.
Hi, my name is Ted, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Peppermint Chip Shake is when the peppermint shake is available, that's to me sort of announces that the holiday season is here. I guess most people count down the days until Christmas, but me, I count down the days until the shake comes out.
Hi, I'm Michaela, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Peppermint Chip Milkshake is that first sip when you taste the peppermint chip pieces, it's like catching snowflakes on your tongue.
Share a peppermint chip milkshake from Chick-fil-A this holiday. Available for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
'Twas the season of cheer, and joy filled the town, except for Scrooge with his perma-frown. The gift of a Peloton bike touched his soul without doubt. When your workout's a joy, it's a joy to work out. This Black Friday, get the original Peloton bike at our best holiday price ever, $1,495. All access membership separate. Terms apply. See website for details.
I'm Marcus Roberts, a jazz pianist and a proud graduate of the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind, a state public school available at no cost to eligible K through 12 Florida students who are deaf, blind, or both. FSDB prepares students for a lifetime of success, allowing them to do more, be more, and achieve more. For more information, call 800-342-3732 or visit www.fsdbk12.org.
Just be confident. Community First makes smarter banking simple so you can relax, knowing you're managing your money the right way. Yours. Visit justbeyourself.com. Community First Credit Union. Just be yourself. Federally insured by NCUA.
Nights of Lights dazzles with more than 3 million lights in the historic district of St. Augustine. Now imagine doubling those lights as they reflect off the water during your tour with Redboat Tours. Avoid downtown crowds by boarding at Beach's Restaurant Marina at 250 Volano Road. Then sit back and let Captain Tony and Miss Jennifer take you on a tour you'll never forget. Don't settle for imposters. Make no mistake, Redboat Tours is St. Augustine's only USA Today Reader's Choice Best Boat Tour 3 years running. Book your Nights of Lights tours now at redboattours.com.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready to let the good times roll. And by roll, I mean roll on home in a brand new Toyota, because Toyotathon is on at Arlington Toyota. Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Tundra, Tacoma. Arlington Toyota has 300 new Toyotas available. And with Arlington's 30-day exchange program and lifetime warranty with every new purchase, buying your new Toyota's more fun than ever. Toyotathon is on at Arlington, 10939 Atlanta Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Toyotathon for full details.
You're invited to shop at the White Harvest Farms and Farmers Market every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a market of fresh and affordable farm-to-table produce that comes from a 10.5-acre urban located at 4850 Moncrief Road. There's volunteering, classes, and farming demonstrations. Also, if you're interested in becoming a vendor or volunteer, call 904-354-4162 or visit the White Harvest Farms Eventbrite page. White Harvest Farms wants to be your favorite produce market. This initiative benefits the Clara White mission.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Smart speakers are becoming part of everyday life, so why not use it to listen to the radio? Tell Alexa, Google Home, or any other speaker to play ESPN 690. Give it a shot weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
Couple minutes left here. ESPN 690 Game Day Live. Casey Kurtz. Brent Martineau was with us, and he was at the DUUUVAL house. He's on his way inside the bank right now. He's got some TV to do. Countdown to kickoff, 11:30, CBS 47, so be sure to catch that in about 38 minutes. But we got another 5 or so minutes here. Get you set for this one, Jags 49ers, the rest of the NFL games. We got some Saturday studs to talk about as well, but I like to say this every week. If you're down by the bank and you're listening to us, we appreciate it. We appreciate it no matter where you're listening to us, even in England. That's right. I be seeing my Twitter. We appreciate you no matter where you are. But if you're downtown, if you're near the bank, Brent Martineau, again, not on that entitlement stuff. He just needs to get into the stadium to do some TV. Please move out of his way. Don't cut him off. Just let him get through. If you see him, he's a busy guy. He's in a hurry. Casey Kurtz with you here. We're going to do some Saturday studs right now. Some guys that are in college football right now, making a name for themselves, likely to be high draft picks in the draft coming up. And if you're not aware, we've talked about this a little bit from 3 to 6 on Action Sports Jacks every day during the week. And that is, this is a defensive-heavy draft. There are not a lot of quarterbacks that you would want high. Luckily, the Jags don't have to worry about that. I promise you they don't. No matter what you read on Twitter, they don't have to worry about that. So, a lot of defensive guys, and that's what we've been featuring a lot. There are some wide receivers that the Jags will be interested with. The question will be, do you take one of the Ohio State receivers with your first pick that's going to be in the top 10? I would say no. However, these receivers haven't been very good. So I can understand why you'd want a Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave type player, but we'll have to see. A guy that we're going to talk about, and I guess we'll start with David Bell from Purdue. Purdue is all of a sudden becoming wide receiver U these last couple of years. Rondell Moore, who is obviously making a name with himself with Arizona right now, was a member of the Purdue Boilermakers last year. But there will be options in the second round for the Jags at the wide receiver position. David Bell, if he makes it to the second round, will be one of them. He'll be an early second round pick, kind of like Rondell Moore. 12 catches for 101 yards yesterday on the season, 75 catches, 1,100 yards, and 5 touchdowns. 3 straight games with 11 catches and 100-plus yards. 217 yards against Michigan State in that upset a couple weeks ago. That is David Bell. We'll go to the defensive side of the ball. How about Kyler Gordon, cornerback from Washington? He had a forced fumble yesterday on the season. 2 interceptions, 6 passes defended, a forced fumble, like I mentioned, 33 tackles. Devin Lloyd, a linebacker for Utah, made some big plays yesterday, 6 tackles, but he came out early because Utah was absolutely destroying Oregon, who is no longer going to be ranked number 3. Brent Martineau called that one on the picks that we make every Friday around 4:30. So he called that one. Game picker-upper for him. On the season, though, Devin Lloyd, 85 tackles, 6 sacks, a forced fumble, 3 interceptions, one of them all the way back to the house, 6 passes defended. Does it all at the linebacker spot, Devin Lloyd. A guy that I wouldn't mind being a Jacksonville Jaguar. Charles Cross, we love to talk about the offensive tackles from Mississippi State, 6'5", 310. He's the quickest and most athletic tackle in the draft, according to a lot of draft experts right now. That's a guy to keep your eye on if you need offensive line help. And there's not a lot of cornerbacks, like I mentioned. We've talked about a lot of them already, though. We've talked Sam Howell. We've talked Matt Corral. We've talked Malik Willis. How about Carson Strong? It's time for that. The quarterback from Nevada. 27 for 44, 351 and 4 yesterday against Air Force on the season. He's thrown for just under 4,000 yards. He will get there 32 touchdowns. So those are the Saturday stars that will turn into NFL studs next year after they are picked in the NFL draft. Will any of them be Jags? Not sure yet, but we'll find out in April. Got about a minute to go here. Jags, 49ers. We appreciate you listening on ESPN 690. As always, every Jags home game morning, we do this. It's called ESPN 690 Game Day Live. From the DUUUVAL house, that's where you can find Brent Martineau. Sunday mornings around this time. But he's on the way to the stadium right now, like I said. Countdown to kickoff is coming up at 11:30. The entire Action Sports Jags team, that'll be Marcel Robinson. That'll be Stuart Weber. That'll be Olivia Tassley. That'll obviously be Brent Martineau. You can catch them on their TV. Remember, the game is on Fox 30, though, not CBS 47. So countdown to kickoff, CBS 47. The game itself is on Fox 30. Right here on ESPN 690, like Brent mentioned, we got FSU basketball right from the UNF Arena. That's going to be the Jacksonville Classic. We've also got Sunday night football. And we'll be back on a Monday. Me and Brent will talk about what happened here. We'll hopefully hear from Austin Lane, who, by the way, has a big fight tonight. UFC Fight Pass, you can get that. Support our guy, Austin Lane. Last time we'll have a chance to talk about it on the radio before the fight, but Austin's our guy. He's trained hard. He's worked hard, and he's a killer. He's a certified killer. He gets it done in Houston. The biggest fight of his career, like I said, UFC Fight Pass. You can get that anywhere you have access to the internet, your smart TV as well. Jags 6.5-point dogs at home. Will they get it done? I'm not sure. This is a tough game to pick, but you know what? I picked the 49ers on Friday, but you know what? I'm feeling it. Trevor Lawrence has a big game. James Robinson's back. Give me the Jags. Countdown to kickoff, CBS 47 in a half hour. We'll talk to you on Monday. Peace.
Looking for a great career? The